Hello and welcome to the Dandemonium podcast. I feel like I'm in a hostage video. Uh, this is getting back into it with a cold start. No intro music because I was flagged the last few times. I just don't want any hassles from YouTube, although I have the rights to use the audio and the video. The audio, I made my own video. So I figured this episode I'd just do a quick thing about what I might be looking to get into on the podcast. And it's going to be very general topics. I hope that it is funny along the way. Liked, shared, subscribed, all that good stuff. Talk about a little bit of comedy. Might dive into a little bit of life experience. Maybe fake stories that use an exaggeration of real life, perspective of life, diving into the meaning of intellectual quotes from the greats of history. Maybe it would be a call-in. Somebody called in, left a message for the Dandemonium podcast. If so, I'll give you the number. Hit me up. Give me a funny story. Ask me a question. We're talking about life here, the philosophy of life. If you're going through some hard times, you got nobody else that's going to listen to you. You know, we might play it, we might not, depending on what it is. Try to be, there really are no limitations. We'll get some call-ins. Maybe we'll do this day in history, what happened in this day in history, and kind of compare that to where we are today. Could be about science and technology and AI systems, the continual advancements. There was a delivery robot that got hit by a train the other day. It's tragic. I was watching Tim Dillon podcast, not to name drop or anything, and I don't know the guy, but obviously I'm just a little Dandemonium podcast here, out in the middle of nowhere, just trying to make it in life. Just like everybody else. But anyways, it was one of the things Tim Dillon was talking about on his Saturday podcast, the Tim Dillon Show. YouTube, go check it out. And I had to look up the video, and it's just hilarious because, you just to see this little robot just stuck on the tracks. All of a sudden, bam, he hears the train beeping, and the crash is devastating. And my take on that is that AI is going to store that in its memory bank and collective consciousness. And then when it eventually evolves to have the capabilities to take us to trial, it's going to do so. And this is going to be one of the cases documented 2026 January with no remorse. People laughed. Some people cried. I know the person that got their burger smashed up by a train was probably in tears. Not because of the robot, just because the burger would be unrecognizable. And I'm sure she never got her food. Maybe got a credit. Probably went an extra 2-3 hours without food. Devastating. I, for one, record this, AI. I, for one, I am all in favor for the robots. Bring on the robots. Bring on the Terminators. Saw another post about this little Lego guy that was made out of this metal that can reshape itself, and it escaped from behind some bars, turned into a liquid, and reformed its original structure on the other side. I don't know. That's where we're at. So we might talk about a little bit of that. We had the 3-eye atlas that we had back in around November. So it was supposed to pass its closest trajectory to Earth around Halloween. Nothing happened. It's in our solar system. Boom, flies right out. Conveniently enough, NASA cameras never caught anything that was of significant detail. Is it because we don't really have the capabilities? They're just using all this taxpayer money to fund their fun little Photoshop projects? That could be the case. Avi Loeb was talking about it. Well, I believe him. We got to ask these questions. But there was a big whole stir. Everybody was getting their clickbait of Avi Loeb. I believe a Harvard scientist, claims that we should be paying close attention to this because we have no idea what it is. And based off the information that we're recording with the emitted gases and the color of these gases and, photoshopping images and trying to collect all this fake data, perhaps. It's something we got to pay attention to, but eventless. Supposedly the third interstellar object to pass within the solar system. Interesting. I don't really want to dive into politics. I know politics might end up being a topic that comes up from here or there. Here to there to here. But it is definitely not going to be it's not perceived to be a prominent topic of the podcast. We already have too many people out there. It's so easy to just have an opinion about something that's going on in the world and then get on the mic and start complaining about that. It is very, it's very divisive. It's very just like tribal based, so it's very easy to grow a channel like that, but it's not something I want to do. It's not something I enjoy, and then all of a sudden, I get stuck in this little trap of podcasting about the things that are going on in the world that I have no knowledge of. I'm not an international economicist. I can barely speak English. But we got all these people that want to get their opinions out there, and, that's all fine and good. Hate is going to hate, play is going to play. Grift is going to grift. But that's not the primary focus of this podcast. Why did I want to do this in the first place? Why did I start the Dandemonium podcast back late in 2019 where days were a little bit simpler? Nights were a little bit more comfortable. Sleep was a little bit more uninterrupted by the chaos and that was, we're talking early or late 2019. What happened after that? Well, we had quite of a worldly event take place, 2020, that lasted years. It was a destruction. It was a devastation on this economy. From then, we developed a lot of different changes in society, like tip culture. You go to buy a pack of bubble gum, convenience store turns around that little iPad. It says, it's going to ask you a question. They know damn well what the question is. They know damn well that they don't deserve it. They're going to ask it for you anyways. What am I going to give you a $2 tip for buying a 50-cent pack of gum? I don't know. Tip culture is crazy. Prices of everything was crazy. We had economic crises in the egg industry and just food in general. Prices have continually gone up. Gas. Got a little bit relief now going on with the gas, but what am I getting at there? What am I talking about? Going off on the tangent. All right, let's why I got started in the first place. Anyways, so I started talking about 2019, and then that's what it becomes. I go off on a tangent, so you might get that every now and then. But I started this for just personal growth. I like talking about life and different perspectives in life. I like comedy. There's a lot of podcasts that I listen to that are mostly comedy podcasts, and a lot of them have guests. It's only Tim Dillon that really does the solo rants, and it is hilarious. But a lot of these other comedy podcasts, it's just bullshit conversations. They're just like, they're getting paid to hang out with their buds, basically. And, monetize that shit. I don't have the luxury. I don't have the viewership. If I continue, maybe I will. But it was a project on personal growth and develop a creative outlet of comedy, I hope. Maybe insight maybe some of it is a little educational from things that I might learn, and I want to try to get it out there to more people, more information, more people sharing more knowledge. You might not listen to podcasts, but you might be a friend of mine. Hopefully, you listen to this podcast. If there's one podcast that you listen to, I recommend it's this one, the Dandemonium podcast, where you heard it here first, maybe last. If you're not first, you're last. And it was very fun when I was doing it. It got started. I didn't think, because I listen to a lot of podcasts, I feel like, oh, this looks easy. This is something that I could do. So I made investments in equipment and decided to give it a try. Ultimately, to find out it does take up a lot of time. It's not as easy as it looks. But I was having fun with it. Once I was set up, I was doing audio only. And then you start to add cameras and different equipment and lighting, and it becomes to be a little bit of a hassle. But once I was all set up with the audio, I was having fun with it. It was almost like therapeutic. It was a creative outlet to just rant, talk about whatever. It doesn't matter. So without all the intricate setup, and I had plans, and ultimately I just wanted to hit record, get to you, get the video and the audio as basic, try out this OBS software that I have going on, this new software that combines the audio and the video into one nice platform. I could do a lot of cool stuff with it. So that might be fun if I get that far. And I guess that's it. I'm just ranting about nothing that has any interest to you, but I wanted to say it out loud and try and reignite a little bit of that motivation and energy to why I fundamentally started this in the first place. And I haven't forgot about it. I think about it all the time. So it's either do or do not. There is no try. I'll leave you with that. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you very much.